Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. We've got lots of news to go over today. Big movement in terms of what is happening with this national quarantine. President Trump holding yet another press briefing this morning, and there were some key sound bites I think that you guys need to make sure you hear. He has invoked the Defense Production Act. He has made some really interesting statements about blame in regards to where this began. Also reacting to the claims that the way that he characterizes this incident is somehow based on ethnicity and not the location of where it came from. We're also going to be talking about the factual health implications of this situation because I want to make sure you guys remain comfy. I've had a lot of people telling me they're very scared. What am I going to do if I'm wrong about the way that I'm talking about it? But to be honest, I've got people writing me who are experts in this field and who have told me that we have nothing to worry about. It is a sickness, make no mistake, but it is not as serious a situation as they are leading us to believe. I think they're looking to tank the economy, and President Trump and his administration are responding to that in spades. We're also going to be talking about President Trump's federal stimulus plan, which is going to directly benefit every single American, and also some developments coming out of California and some of the implications of President Trump declaring this national emergency. It's good for all of us, and I think it's right in line with the plan. All right, guys, please do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Prepper's Peak is offering an ultimate safety suit bundle that comes equipped with a mask, coveralls, gloves, and goggles for an extremely affordable price. You can grab yours today and use it to help protect your loved ones if anything does go down. You're going to get a pair of flock-lined green nitrile gloves, a bound seam coverall with elastic hood, wrists, and ankles, also a P100 adjustable particulate respirator with Ventex valve, and chemical splash safety goggles. They have a clear anti-fog lens, and they will offer you the best protection in case anything does happen. This safety suit bundle is the perfect home commodity to assist you and your family if an emergency spreads to your city. Limited supplies are available, so take advantage now and give you and your family the peace of mind you need. Please visit www.ultimatesafetysuit.com and use the promo code REDPILL10 for 10% off. Once again, that's www.ultimatesafetysuit.com. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today, we're going to talk about the insane things President Trump can do during a crisis. Now, this is only insane to the people who are not interested in giving President Trump the power that he needs to take care of a crisis. But here are some amazing precedents that have been set for things that the president can do. First of all, he can regulate all commerce and business transactions. Now, this clearly brings to mind the function of the search engine that most people use on this planet and the way things have changed in the last couple of days. Certain things that you search for that you were unable to find before are coming up. Images that you were unable to find are coming up. Answers to questions such as who really owns the United States are now able to be found very easily on that search engine. And also there are just a ton of different resources which are now available, which had previously been hidden underneath mainstream media articles which were meant to blindside us and kind of keep us away from the actual truth. Now, he can also seize all privately held gold stores. That would be extremely useful if we're going to be switching from this fiat currency system to a gold-backed monetary system. He can also take control of all media in the U.S. If you'll notice, very recently, certain media outlets have been praising President Trump in his response to what's been taking place, saying that he's been doing an excellent job. And beyond that, we've also had certain Democratic governors also praising him, which has been very, very surreal. Basically, he can also capture all resources and manpower. That means that in order to get things done, he can direct people and say, this is what we need built, this is what we need to take care of, such as putting together the wall. He can also deploy the military inside the United States. We know that we've gotten many, many stories of different states from across the country with the National Guard already being deployed. And finally, he can also suspend the government of the United States. Now, this would be extremely helpful if we were in the midst of some type of mass arrest or events such as that. But going back to the control of all the media in the U.S., I do believe that that also would include things like that search engine, because they are a news outlet and it's a way for people to get information. It could also be considered a utility, which can also be taken control of by President Trump and his administration. So all of these things are wonderful and perfect and aligned directly with the plan. So please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Now, on the note of things changing here on the internet and certain search results popping up, yesterday on Twitter, there was some really ugly stuff trending about Oprah and about Tom Hanks both. Now, my friend Awakened Outlaw here, I need to ask everybody to pray for him right now. He's come down with a mystery illness. He said that he doesn't have any trouble breathing, but he's got some problems just moving, getting around. Sounds like he's out of energy, and I just want to ask everybody to please pray for his health and well-being. But he put out this tweet an hour ago, and we know that something was wrong because he has been suspiciously absent from Twitter the last couple of days, and finally I got a hold of him just a few minutes ago. But here in an AM show this morning in an Omaha, Nebraska radio program, one of the anchors on the program was talking about the situation with Tom Hanks. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Hanks and his wife, have you heard? I heard.
Yeah, Tom Hanks is out of the hospital.
Nice.
Which I heard a rumor today from a showbiz insider, Mary.
Yeah.
That Tom Hanks never really had the coronavirus. That Tom Hanks' name is about to come out in a very ugly way.
What?
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I don't know if it's true, and if I go through any other details, I'll get sued.
I wash my hands.
But I was told by a very knowledgeable showbiz source.
A very knowledgeable showbiz source. Now, that is a step removed from people gossiping on Twitter. So I really honestly believe that there could be something to this, given everything that we've heard in the last couple of years surrounding that individual. So definitely something that we're going to want to keep our eyes on. Now, all right, moving on.
John, please.
Two questions, if I could, Mr. President. First of all, on the Defense Procurement Act, you're invoking it today. Senator Schumer said on the floor a short time ago that it urgently needs to be put into action to produce medical supplies, particularly ventilators. Do you have some targets that you would like to see immediately spooled up under the act?
We have tremendous numbers of ventilators, but there's never been an instance like this where no matter what you have, it's not enough. That would be the case. And we will be, it's being signed. It's essentially drawn, and I'm going to sign it in just a little while.
All right, so what is the Defense Production Act? Well, it was an act that was first enacted in 1950 as a response to the Korean War, and it has been reenacted about 50 times since then. Basically, it streamlines the production of medical supplies, and it allows the Defense Department to require businesses to fulfill contracts specifically for them as it is needed. And President Trump has said that we are going to use it, and if we do, it's full speed ahead. Now, but right here is the three main sections of the Defense Production Act. It forces companies to be required to accept and prioritize contracts from the U.S. government for materials, services, and facilities to promote the national defense or to maximize domestic energy supplies. Now, the second provision makes for financial measures like loans, loan guarantees, purchases, and purchase commitments to speed up the production of those materials. And then the act also addresses voluntary agreements, or what the government says is an association of private interests approved by the government to plan and coordinate actions in support of the national defense. Now, it also provides the government with the authority to obtain information from businesses, authorizes establishment of the National Defense Executive Reserve and a Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, which works on the effects of national security of certain mergers, acquisitions, and takeovers related to foreign investment in the United States. So that right there could have a big impact on the ownership of companies and investments here in the United States by, say, a country such as China. Now, with the invocation of this act, the administration is going to be forced to file an annual report to Congress on the impact or offsets of the defense preparedness, industrial competitiveness, employment, and trade that is a result from the act. So we will have some numbers as to how it's affected things, and I'm sure that President Trump will let us know exactly how this act is going to help America get back to the former state that it was in just before this pandemic hit us. Now, generally speaking, this has only been enacted during wartime. President Trump made a very curious statement from this press conference, stating that he actually considers himself to be a wartime president. Let's take a look at that.
And yeah, I look at it, I view it as in a sense, a wartime president. I mean, that's what we're fighting. I mean, it's a very tough situation. You have to do things. You have to close parts of an economy that 6 weeks ago were the best they've ever been. We had the best economy we've ever had. And then one day you have to close it down in order to defeat this enemy. And but we're doing it, and we're doing it well. And I'll tell you, the American people have been incredible. For the most part, they've been really incredible.
Now, what President Trump just said right there, that for the most part, the American people have been incredible. Well, ABC News reporter Cecilia Vega accused President Trump of the big R word for calling this the Chinese virus. And President Trump shot back, it came from China. It seems like a pretty straightforward thing to me. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the clip.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate.
Yeah,
please, John, please.
It comes from China. That's why. That's why he said it. If it was coming from any other country, that's the exact same type of verbiage we would use. It's just a description about where it originated. Now, President Trump had another little tidbit that he dropped in here in regards to the origination of this situation and who is to blame. Let's take a listen to that.
Playing with a lot of numbers, a lot of very big numbers, and a lot of very small numbers, frankly. We want to take care. We have to help everybody. It was nobody's fault. This happened. I mean, some people could say it was somebody's fault, actually. But
Wait a second. What? He just said a lot of people think this was somebody's fault, actually. That leads me to believe that the president knows something that he's not saying. It was somebody's fault, certainly, because it got out and we don't know how. But obviously, you don't have to be a super genius to realize, based upon the location of that lab and the proximity of the outbreak location, exactly who, how, and where it came from. President Trump, I think, is holding on to an ace in his back pocket. He knows exactly what happened and where it came from, or perhaps they just have a very strong suspicion and they don't exactly know 100%, so they're not willing to say. But as always, with the Patriots in control, something tells me that they are going to get it figured out. Now, I said in the intro, I think that a big part of their plan with this pandemic is to trash the economy. Well, President Trump and the administration have been very quick and decisive in acting on making sure that that doesn't happen. Although we've had some losses in the stock market, all of that's going to come back. Businesses are going to be shutting down because we're doing this cool down period of social distancing, but everything is going to recover. And in the meantime, President Trump and the administration have put together a plan to give $2,000 to most Americans, and they should see the first check by April 6th and the second in mid-May. Now, they said on Wednesday they're going to start issuing these direct payments in the first check of $1,000 there in that first week of April. They're going to go to most Americans, and it's going to cost the federal government about $500 billion. Now, President Trump has often said that he loves to spend other people's money. Now, think about what's happening here. if we're going to be spending all of this money, whose money is it? Well, it's printed by the Fed, and it's going to add to the debt that the Fed is owed. And if President Trump has these extraordinary wartime powers, and we could potentially be transferring over to a gold standard, or there could be some type of currency reset, then I think that's going to leave the Fed holding the bag. But it only is going to happen once the American public gets the opportunity to spend this money and pay off some bills, make sure that they're covered during this course of time when a lot of people can't work. Now, many people are able to work. They're able to do distance working. They're able to go from home. They're able to call into their jobs. People like me, I'm able to do my reporting from my home office. But a lot of people are not going to be able to do that. So for the people that can't, I do believe that this is going to be a great answer in the meantime. Saw a lot of people yesterday getting upset, saying that this was socialism and that, this is the beginning of a universal basic income. But it's not going to be forever. Think back, guys, to when President George W. Bush sent out that stimulus and everybody got about $800. I didn't hear anybody crying at that time because it wasn't socialism then and it's not socialism now. This is just a stopgap to make sure that the American economy can keep moving. And if we're going to be transferring over to a brand new monetary system, I see absolutely nothing wrong with ensuring that the Fed gets left with absolutely nothing in their coffers because they've had to pump all of this money into the U.S. economy. So I'm still open to hearing what you guys have to say in the comments below, but I know that this $2,000 payment to most Americans is going to mean the difference between keeping their homes or not keeping their homes, being able to make sure their cars aren't repossessed, or making sure that the lights stay on. Even though many electric companies, many power companies have put a stop on shutoffs if people are unable to pay. It's also a wonderful thing that they've pushed back the deadline on taxes that are due. Some of us have already paid our taxes for 2019, so that doesn't help. But that's fine. I am more than happy to sit back and allow a good portion of the country to get the benefits of this stimulus package. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. All right, so I would say that a large part of the panic that we've been seeing in the world today is due to these just doomsday numbers that were put out by the WHO. Now, if you'll remember, they said earlier that the actual mortality rate of this virus was expected to be 3.4%, which is significantly higher than the average everyday flu. But we're actually seeing it at about 0.2 to 0.8%. And in some places, it's even a lot lower than that. Now, the man who said that was the director of the WHO, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, and he claimed that in a press conference in early March that the fatality rate for this would be multiple times higher than the fatality rate of the common flu. Well, that was simply a false premise, but it did a lot to stir up the pot and got the mainstream media talking about this and presenting it as if it was something that was going to just end everything. We're going to be living in a Walking Dead post-apocalyptic scenario. Although there's many people, I'm sure, that would enjoy that type of thing, I think that for most of the people in the world, that is a very scary proposition, and that's not the kind of world they want to live in. And when they're looking for the leadership of places like this, the WHO, to give accurate information, it really does mess everything up for a lot of people. People go crazy. I think that the biggest danger that we have, that we're facing right now, is the response of people who are not thinking about this logically. For the people that are reacting with their basest instincts, the ones who are going out and buying up all the toilet paper. I've got enough toilet paper that I can make sure I survive. I'm not going to run out, and even if I do, it's not that big of a deal. I'll go ahead and take care of it. But a lot of people are going out and buying tons and tons and tons of perishable food. What are you going to do with 10 gallons of milk? It's not going to be used by you. You're not going to be able to drink it before it goes bad. Heard a story about a woman the other day with an entire shopping cart full of eggs. Are you really going to eat that many eggs? Are you going to make 6-gallon tubs of egg salad sandwich and then put it into the freezer? I just don't see that happening. I think that people are just buying based on instinct. They're being told that they need to panic, and so they go out and they panic. And then it causes major issues in the supply chain. We get disruptions in local areas where people can't get the supplies they need. And then people hunker down because they think that if they even look at another person, then they're going to come down with this this illness and then it's going to be the end of the world. But the truth is that these were false statements. It is not the way that they have portrayed it to be. It is quite a bit lower. The transmission rate is quite a bit lower. The symptoms for the people who have it are quite a bit less dramatic than what we've been told. And if we look at this report from Tucker Carlson, we find that 86% of cases are completely asymptomatic, and they have no idea that they were even infected by it. So this guy, Dr. Marty Makary from Johns Hopkins University, joined Tucker to discuss the situation. And according to the study performed by Johns Hopkins, 6 out of every 7 participants, people who were infected, were completely asymptomatic. And the actual mortality rate is much, much lower than the regular flu that we see on a daily basis here in this country. Over 50,000 deaths from the regular flu this year, and the media is not freaking out. Why? Because it's something that we live with. We're used to the flu. We are used to people getting sick and passing away because it's a part of life. It's a part of the circle of life, if you want to use a turn of phrase. All right, so we're going to move on to one more story, and it's coming... All right, so the last bit of information, I forgot to mention it earlier, but President Trump has decided to close both the northern and southern borders to non-essential traffic. It's about time. And also, Bernie Sanders looks to assess his campaign after a string of losses again. Poor Bernie, he did not do well again this past Tuesday, and he said the next primary contest is 3 weeks away. But Senator Sanders is going to be having conversations with his supporters to assess his campaign. In the immediate term, however, he's focused on the government response to the outbreak and ensuring that we take care of working people and the most vulnerable. So Biden swept through Arizona, Florida, and Illinois on Tuesday, and that adds to his victories from Super Tuesday just the week before that, where he beat Sanders in 10 out of 14 contests. Even though the pledged delegates appear close, Biden has 1,153 and Sanders has 861. More than 40% of the delegates have now been pledged, and candidates lead at least 1,991 to officially clinch the nomination. So it really does look like Bernie has absolutely no hope of being able to pull it out at this point. So let's go ahead and look at this tweet from President Trump because he's weighing in on the situation. He says the DNC have gotten their fondest wish and defeated Bernie Sanders far ahead of schedule. Now they are doing everything possible to be nice to him in order to keep his supporters. Bernie's given up just like he did last time. He will be dropping out soon. MAGA cog. For his part, Biden is already looking past the Vermont senator, praising the remarkable passion and tenacity of Sanders and his supporters. They have shifted the fundamental conversation in this country, he said, adding, "I hear you. I know what's at stake. I know what we have to do." Basically, Biden doing everything in his power to make sure that the Bernie bros don't rise up against him and decide to go vote for Trump because they watched Bernie get it stolen yet again. 2 contests in a row, 2016 and now 2020, and Biden has taken Bernie Sanders over in the Democratic contest. What do you guys think? Did the DNC rig this again? Because that's sure what it looks like to me. And any Bernie bros out there who see this and recognize what's going on, I want to tell all of you that you are welcome to come help us make America great again. Well, guys, the moral of the story is these people are not done trying to destroy us yet. However, we are going to trump them at every turn. Make sure you are prepared. Make sure you keep a cool head. And make sure that you don't listen to the MSM or organizations like the WHO. They are already showing themselves to be the frauds they are, making basic math errors and trying to inflame the fears of Americans and people across the globe. But that's not us, is it, my friends? We're not going to let that happen. And I'm certainly looking forward to November when Joe Biden and President Trump are going head-to-head in the national election for the President of the United States. We know what's going to happen then as well. Future will prove past, and I'm calling it right now. Donald Trump will be president again in 2020. All right, guys, it looks like we're going to hit that contest goal tonight. Probably going to hit 2,000 subscribers today, so make sure that you like, that you are commenting, and that you shared this video, and that you have turned on all notifications, because when I pick those 2 winners, I'm going to be putting it in the title of the next video, and that could be as early as tomorrow. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. Just one more thing. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has taken the time to support this channel. If you'd like to see some ways that you can support the channel, you can always check the show notes in the pinned comment of this video below. Whether you like, whether you share, whether you make sure that your notifications are on, any way that you support this channel means so much to me. I could not be doing this without you, and I could not do it without your help. Without people like you, this channel would not exist, so thank you so much to everyone for all of their many means of support. Don't forget to check out the merchandise store that is also in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys next time.